is an emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. It's crazy that this 5-star final was this week. It feels like it was an age like 3 weeks ago at this point. That there's so much has been happening, and that's what the topic of discussion is today. Is the 5-star final? Like that's the big thing. But I'm just like, holy shit, that was a few days ago.
Yeah, it is one of 5 big things because wow, what a weekend this was from Stardom, in both bad and good ways. But I suppose there's only one place to start, and that is with on Saturday, Suzu Suzuki won the 5-star Grand Prix 2023. And boy, this went down like a lead balloon in my circles. People were not happy at all. And that's crazy. 'Cause here's the thing. If you offered most people before this tournament a Suzu Suzuki win, they'd have gone, that's kind of random, but she's awesome, so yeah, of course, right? Like, people love Suzu. Don't underestimate how much people adore this woman, because she is an excellent pro wrestler. Like, she is a
She also
top tier.
had the best tournament, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not like she was like like she had a middling tournament. She was probably top 3 of like the wrestlers in the tournament for me.
Yeah, like she's great. She is generational. She's everything that is, on the tin. People have said it already. I don't need to tell you. You all know who Suzu is and what she's about and how much people adore her. But on this day, in this venue, against Micah, she was not the right choice. People wanted Micah. That crowd, that entire audience wanted Micah to win that final.
Oh yeah. When we get into like the show itself, it became very apparent at one point during the Mariah match that I was like, oh, she probably shouldn't win right now. Like if Micah should not have gone to the finals if she wasn't going to win. Like that was where I was at in the middle of the Mariah match because I was like, you would want the heat to go on Mariah because Mariah always gets heat for everything. Who cares? It's sad for her, but that's just how it is. You would want the heat to go on Mariah and not on whoever wins the tournament.
Yes.
And that's where we're at. They did not do that.
It didn't, and it's really interesting because it really, I think with Suzu, it's like not only did her win kind of go down with a very damp reaction, but then she challenged for November, and it was like, oh, she's not even important.
That's
like,
when I got mad. Like obviously,
absurd.
Obviously, I was rooting for Micah. But when Suzu won, I was like, "Oh shit! Okay, that's sick. That's fine. Okay, I'm cool with that." Suzu Tam year end. Suzu gets the year end. Cool. That's cool. And that's the thing. That was why I was upset about. And if you've listened to the podcast throughout the 5-star, you will know the situation with this, where it's like from the beginning, from the time we talked to Scott and we had the 3-man booth type of thing. I was saying that's like, oh, Micah should win. I think Micah winning would be dope. Like that's a very possibility. My dogs are barking right now, but that was a very real possibility for me. And you both said that's like she's not a year-end type of person, and that was always like the most valid, argument against Micah for this year, in my opinion, was Micah Tam not really a year-end thing. Like it doesn't really click, and I'm just like, yeah. I mean, you could try, but yeah, I get that. And then they just didn't make the 5-star for the year-end thing. How?
Yeah,
that was so disappointing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so obvious that they are waiting for Saya. They want to do their originally planned match, which was Saya versus Tam. Much to the detriment of Suzu, who is now like, okay, she was probably challenging in November anyway. Logically, she had challenged Tam. She had beat Tam in the tournament. she was going to face Tam at that November show. Like that was the expectation. So to have her win the tournament and challenge there anyway, it's kind of like, oh, you just put it on her because it's the easiest option. This isn't we're getting behind Suzu. Suzu is just the easiest option here to do Saya when she's like assuming she's healthy.
Yeah, I like if they're going to do this, I would have just given it to Mayu. I know that like Utami probably was their second choice, and she went out after Mayu was eliminated. But like, I don't know. I like it's very frustrating because I love Suzu and I love Micah and I loved that match. We'll talk about it later. I did really enjoy the match itself. Um, but it made them both look worse coming out of it. Uh, Not necessarily worse. I think Micah looks good because she went to the final and then she lost, but that was, it makes Micah feel very sympathetic, though a depressing figure to be rooting for, and it makes Suzu look like a chump. Her challenging uh at Gold Rush, I believe it is. That
Yeah.
sucks. Like
She's the replacement. Like she's gonna get that replacement label slapped right on her.
imagine if like Tetsuya Naito challenged Sonata at King of Pro Wrestling. You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. That's not.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I know you want to do Saya Tam. I get it, but come on. Like unless Saya is winning that belt, I don't get the
Yeah,
desire.
and
And
that's
even if
also the
Saya
funny
is
thing.
winning, you do a big show in like March.
Yeah,
Just wait 3 months. Just
I am
wait two
so
extra defenses.
I would not have expected 2 weeks ago to be getting on this podcast and saying, "Why couldn't you just let Tam hold the belt longer?" Like that is my
Yeah.
stance now. Is like give Suzu year end and then give if Sai is winning, give her the big match at the spring show. Like that like
Mhm.
I never would have thought that's what my stance post 5-star would be, but like come on, this is kind of ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's like on the stance of like, oh, Suzu should win the belt, and the fact that she's not winning is where she looks bad. It's the fact that she's not winning, and it's at Gold Rush. That sucks. And like I think I was talking to Peps about it. That's like, oh well, where's Suzu from? Is she from somewhere? No, she's not from
Oh,
Osaka. She's not. No, there's no relevance to it. It's just not good.
no, it's a real miss. From Rossi, who is usually very proactive. I feel like the Rossi of old would have been like, hell yeah, my year-end main eventer is out. Let's go. Let's put the rocket on somebody
Let's shake
else.
it up.
Yeah. Whereas now he's like, nah, I don't want to do that no more. Um. So yeah, I do feel bad for Suzu because like her win just got completely like overshadowed by people being very upset over Micah. And she's obviously trying to make the best of the situation here. Um, yeah, it's just a weird one for her first GP win because that should be a pretty big deal. Like this is what
The
21 year
vibes are
old
also just
who
off
has
in certain
yes
ways for
yeah
like the I don't know. It felt like they were kind of just like, okay, you could speak your piece and get the fuck out. Okay, get the fuck out.
mhm,
Show's over. I was like, damn, okay. Don't give her, like I don't know. It just felt weird. I know they did the ceremony after the fact, um, yesterday, in fact, but it just all felt kind of like I don't know. They're kind of
yeah.
hindering it in a weird way,
Um,
thematically at least.
I do think for Micah, uh, if they want to, you can use this, right? Like that, the camera shot of her like laying against the ropes
They
in
got a picture of
bits.
it.
Yeah, watching
It's on their
watching
site.
Suzu get crowned as winner with Julia, her teammate, crying for the enemy. Like you can use that for Micah, and she kind of has it. Like her promo at the press conference was very different. I'm very disappointed nobody has translated it, but her post GP final promo looked very emotive, but nobody has translated it. Like she mentioned Jamaica, she was like on the floor sobbing. I was like, this could be her Mina moment, but unlike with Mina, nobody has translated that promo yet, so I don't know what she said. But
She did say
she
that like
herself seems to be running with something coming out of this. I just don't know if Stardom is going to run with it, you know?
I mean, yeah, we could do the uh there's obviously the Google Translate, and we'll talk about that when we get to like the show and stuff if you'd like. But yeah, I mean, during it, she did say that it's like it was days like these that I feel like I should just quit, um,
Hmm.
which is concerning, like that. But I do hope that it's, and I think the Megan promo yesterday was really nice. Uh,
Yeah.
Even though Micah didn't understand a lick of it because she knows very little English. Um, but Megan was just like, "Hey, you're dope," and like you did great. There's like, don't feel bad about yourself. You got this, and we got this. And I thought that was kind of sweet. It's nice to see Megan have like emotion and like kind of be like a character and not just a scary, intimidating, you know, blob. So yeah, I'm interested in what they do here, but I'm also like deeply concerned. Um,
Hmm.
I think this does make me question what the fuck's happening this weekend though, or Monday, because like
Yeah, I have no idea.
they've
We
kept
will
Micah
have to
and
get to that
Suzu
later.
apart. They've kept Micah and Suzu apart on the Korakuen show. Um, they have not interacted, as far as I'm aware, like whatsoever, uh, since it happened. Um, they might have had like something at the press conference that I didn't get to see, but we'll see. We'll see. There's only
Yeah.
one person who could lose on the Suzu side of things, which is concerning.
Yes.
We'll see how
Yeah.
that works.
Um, we will. Beyond the GP final, then the other kind of big news coming out of the final day of the GP is Mariah finished her tour with Stardom, which is pretty big. Obviously there's all the rumors kind of floating about interest from the major promotions in America, um, and we wouldn't normally spend time talking about somebody's tour ending, but with Mariah, it just feels different. I feel like we have got to see the first steps of somebody who is going to be a big deal in women's wrestling, and that's always
Mm.
cool. I think people love that. People love to be the first one to say a wrestler is great, right? You know,
I still
I,
take pride for calling that Yuya is going to be a goat, and he's not yet, but he's going to be. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's very yeah. Go on.
Yeah, but I just like people love to be the first one to discover like a wrestler X is awesome. So getting to see a wrestler do a tour in Stardom where they emerge as this like highly touted prospect, somebody who a lot of people will probably have her in the conversation in a few years' time with like Jamie Hayter and Bianca Belair as the best women's wrestlers in that kind of part of the world. I think that's really cool to have seen that kind of blossom in front of our eyes.
Yeah, totally. I think that's like there are a few better foreign wrestlers to come through Stardom, like especially like potential wise, especially, because we didn't even see like she was great on her in her past 9 months with Stardom, and you could still notice that it's like she has more to go. Like she still has room to grow, um, and she still has room to be even greater than she is now. And yeah, I mean, obviously we'll miss her a lot, and I just think it's great that she I think it's great because looking back at when Mina came in with Zaya and Mariah, and Zaya did not have the best track record. She didn't have the most fan um, support from the West, at least. And you look at Mariah and you look at Zaya, and you're like, okay, they're just two white girls that are here now because Storm likes to do that. And you didn't really think much of it. And then, I think you first, like in her first match, you're like, okay, I could see it. I could see what Mariah. I mean, Zaya's still Zaya, but I could see it. And then from there, it was just like a takeover, basically, like completely. Um, to the point where it's like she went from someone that not a lot of people know the name of specifically, or not a lot of people were like specifically expecting much from her, let alone a 9-month tour where she won the Goddess Championship and everybody like kind of loved her. Uh, like that's great. I'm happy for her, and I'm happy that we got to see her in Stardom for 9 months.
Yeah, it's fun, and if she ever comes back, you have a lot to play off there because
Mhm.
I feel like she wants to come back, and if she ends up in AEW, I mean, there's a world where she does work the occasional show, the big show, just because, if AEW can let people work New Japan, why can't they let them work Stardom,
But like yeah, Riho was doing that at one point, and I mean it was WWE, but Tony was doing that in WWE, but that was WWE UK, so that's a bit different. I am hopeful she comes back at some point. Um, I don't think that this is like unless she gets signed to WWE, I am pretty confident that at some point she'll wrestle in a Star Ring again, even if it's a couple years down the line. That's kind of why I'm at this point hoping she goes to AEW because like if and this is kind of what I was like qualifying it as is if she isn't gonna be back in Stardom within a year, um, I need AEW to like scoop her up so that she a isn't stuck in the Brit Rest Indies because that girl is too good for that, and B isn't completely away from any possibility of ever wrestling in Japan again. So that's kind of where I'm at, but you know. I don't know. I'm just happy I got to see her wrestle in Stardom for so long. She was great.
Yeah, she was pretty fantastic. Um, I suppose beyond that, then there has been a lot of news over the past few days. Stardom is like the walking wounded to a degree right now.
Hmm.
So it was announced that Starlight Kid was off the GP final. So she got kind of roughed up in the New Blood match, the tag title match where she got pinned. I think Sunny took to the boards to say she actually got hurt on the Legends pay-per-view and has been gutting
It was
through
either,
since then on a
it
bad
was either the
ankle.
Legends or the Dream Tag. I don't remember.
Oh, I think it was Dream Tag actually. Yeah,
Okay,
that's because yeah, it
because
was
I
it
got
was one
them
of the
switched up
pay-per-views.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. She got hurt on an Asai moonsault in that match and has been working through a bad ankle, but it kind of got the better of her. She was very visibly like hurt in the New Blood tag title match. So her versus Mayu ended up being off. She is off of Tag League. Um, she is joined by Natsupoi. It was announced that Natsupoi has suffered the same injury as Utami, a cervical hernia. She has also been pulled from Tag League. So the list of Stardom wrestlers that's injured now is Saya Kamatani, Utami Hayashishita, Natsupoi, Starlight Kid, Momo Kogo, Aya Sakura, and Komomo Minami, who got injured and has not debuted yet. Uh, yeah,
And that's
a lot of people.
just like away from ring injuries. Like that's not including Azumi, who's kind of taking time off this weekend. Well, she has a match this weekend, but like there are wrestlers who are very clearly hurting that they're kind of like not resting. Like they're not saying they're resting them, but they're clearly not, you know, around. Going to be around as much for the next couple of weeks until Tag League to make sure that they don't further injure themselves. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
they I don't know, they got to do something. um, yeah, Azumi is off the house shows this weekend, but is doing pay-per-view match. So she's somewhat healthy, but they must just be resting her. Um,
maybe giving her
speaking of the
her
injuries,
anniversary off since that's a Saturday.
yeah, maybe I guess. The injuries have caused a lot of changes to Tag League.
Mhm.
So Tag League is now. Let's see here. Did I get the things? No, I don't think I did. I have like 50 things open. There's been
Yeah.
so many different things. I'm trying to like find them all. Um, we can come back to this in a second. What I do know is that Utami has been pulled from the Natsu Sumire anniversary show. So that is now
Man.
Veni versus X. So there's no confirmation of who that is, but it's Veni versus X, and I'm sure it's going to be somebody pretty cool. They have added the Sakura Hiroda and Itsuki Aoki versus Hazuki and Koguma match.
I'm so loving that.
Yeah, Hiroda and Koguma is just a
Oh,
pairing that I never
it's
knew I
also
needed.
Kyusei Sakura Hiroda. So I imagine she'll be dressed as Sumire. Um
Oh my god.
so yeah, that's the bit. I mean she'll be dressed as somebody. Because that's what that is. Because they specifically build her as Kyusei Sakura Hiroda, which always means something's cooking. Something's cooking with Sakura Hirota. She's gonna be dressed as somebody. It's gonna be something crazy.
Mhm. Yeah, that is always a cause for concern is when she dresses up. But you know what? We're here for it.
I mean,
The other match
at
that was
least
added.
Sumire isn't too tall to where she has to wear stilts and fall over every 2 seconds.
That is true. The other match that's been added is a white shirt battle royal. It's We Are Back, white shirt carnival full of sexy wrestlers. It
It's wave
involves
style.
uh,
It's not cosmic style, just so y'all know.
this involves Mina Shirakawa, Saya Ida, Mai Sakurai, Waka Tsukiyama, Chairman Ram, All Caps Saki, Chanyota, Chi-Chi, and Zones. So the first
Chad
ever
Yoda? That's
crossover.
huge.
Yeah, the first ever crossover involving Stardom and the Evolution Girls is a white shirt battle royal, where if you get thrown over the ropes, I think you get sprayed with a water gun. Uh, yeah. How we feeling?
You know, I'm happy to see Chan Yoda again. I haven't seen her wrestle since she came back. I mean,
That's
she won't
fair.
really be like wrestling. I mean, it'll be a white T-shirt battle royal. So, but yeah,
Yes.
that'll be cool. Do you want me
Um.
to run through the new teams for the Goddess League? Because I have them up here.
Oh no, I can do that now.
Okay, cool.
I just want to. We can finish up on the Natsu thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, this Decade of Queens show, it did sell out, so they've added tickets, and they've also confirmed that it will be on Stardom World afterwards. So it's not going to
cool.
air live, but it will be on Stardom World, which means we will get to see all the cool matches, including that one with it's like Takumi, Rina, Rina
Yamashita.
Yamashita that is, and Natsu Sumire and stuff like that. So tag league teams now. It is Red Goddess, Natsuko Tora, and Momo Anabe. Rocca has been kicked from the tournament entirely to make room for this team. We have Risa Sera and Kurumi Hiragi. That remains unchanged. We have Mina Shirakawa and Waka Tsukiyama, which I think is unchanged. There is Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sera. We have Saida and Hanako swapping blocks. So they were in Blue Stars, but they're
Wait,
in
no.
the Red Goddess now.
Oh, yeah, Sahida and Hanako. Yeah, I thought you said something else. Yep.
Yeah. We have Siri and Saki Kashima. And then we have Julia and Tekla rounding out the Red Goddess block. In the Blue Goddess, it's Amisori and Lady C, Azumi and Miyo Amasaki, Tam Nakano and Yuna Mizumori. So that's kind of the big change, is Yuna and Ami were teaming, but they've now been split, and they are teaming with other people. So it was meant to be Lady C and Utami, but it's now Lady C and Amisori.
Which,
And it
to
was
be
meant to be
fair,
Tam and...
Natsupoi.
Yeah, Tam and Natsupoi, but now it's Tam and Yuna.
To be fair, I think Natsupoi not being in this tournament is kind of cooler. Because I really did not like her not teaming with her fellow tag team champion in it. Like, I thought it made no sense. So Tam and Yuna makes more sense as a team, and Natsupoi just not being in it. Obviously, it's a shame she's injured, but yeah, I am more interested in Tam and Yuna as a team in tag league than Tam and Natsupoi, just because it's, you know, I
Well,
don't, you know.
what can we do? Rounding out the Blue Goddess block, it's Mariah and Mai Sakurai, FWC, who have also jumped blocks, and Mayu Iwatani and Hanan, and Micah and Megan Bain. And yeah, during the press conference for this, Micah was kind of saying, "Hey, I might be holding you back. I'm sorry if that's the case. I'm very down about this 5-star loss." And Megan was like, "You're one of the best. Get your shit together. We're gonna win the tag league." And I thought that was cool. So
Yeah. Also, they got some names for some of these teams. Some of them, are like Crazy Star for Suzume. That's fine. My favorite is undoubtedly Eye Contact, which is Mayu and Hanan. Do you know
Mhm.
how they got this name? Um,
No,
it is so because Mayu is the icon and Hanan is the future icon. They are the icon tag, so they are Eye Contact.
that's
Get it?
incredible.
It's icon tag, eye contact.
Yes,
So
yes.
eye, like physical eye contact. Yeah, I really love
Okay,
that name. I was telling Scott about it. I was like, "Isn't that such a dope name?" He's like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like it."
okay. Stardom has announced that. Well, Stardom didn't announce this. I don't actually know who announced this, but Pumi, formerly of Gato Move. Do people remember him from Gato Move? He
Wait,
used to do
who?
commentary. Pumi.
No, I do not remember him.
Really? Yeah, he owns a promotion in Thailand now, but he used to do commentary for Gato
Oh, yeah,
Move.
yeah, yeah. No, I know him then. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was thinking of somebody
yeah,
else.
he was everybody loved him. He would just be like, fighting spirit. She's showing great fighting spirit. And we were all like, hell yeah, man. You go, girl.
I go.
So anyway, he mentioned that Stardom will be taking part in the Bushiroad Expo and Bushiroad Card Fest in Bangkok in October 22nd and
Oh,
21st.
that's what Cosmic Angels are there for.
Yeah.
And Waka.
So Stardom starting that expansion into Southeast Asia, kind of like people have been expecting. They've kind of said they would for a while now, so this is the start of that. Other announcements. Let's see. There was so much. There's been so
Moondub
much happening.
happened. Nobody saw it.
Yeah,
Um,
no, very sad. That had to be changed as well because everybody is getting injured.
yeah.
Yuki Takase broke her leg, supposedly, and is
Oh, I
going to
thought she
miss
just
some
like kind of
shows.
hurt her leg, and she is not getting surgery because if she kept wrestling, she would have had to get surgery.
I don't know. One of the places that changed said that she broke her leg, so I'm just kind of going with them.
Oh, that's sad. A
Yeah,
broken leg is insane. Hikari Shimizu
yeah,
is also
honestly.
injured, and she's not been around in Stardom for a while, but it's rough in the Joshi world right now.
hmm Um, people have been coming up with so much mad shit for why Stardom has had this injury bug, and I wasn't sure if it was worth diving into, but it is
I do
definitely
think
like,
one part of it is probably worth diving into. Is that Kid called for a change for the 5 star, going forward in some way,
yeah,
just vaguely, because Kid likes to do that. She likes to pioneer vague causes that she doesn't really elaborate on. Very similar to Julia. Julia also does that. um, but yeah, so there's been like ideas of like how to reduce injury and fatigue and whatnot. Obviously, last year with the 26 person block or 26 person tournament, there were no injuries, and I think part of that is because they didn't they it was first of all they had almost entirely tournament matches. It wasn't like they were doing shows where they didn't do tournament matches and they were just on the shows for no reason doing like tag team matches against, like main event tag team matches or whatever. There was also a lot more cushion. Like it's very hard to get injured in a match against Momokogo. Not very hard, but like it's not as easy as in a match against Julia, and people who are wrestling at uh, you know, Julia's work rate every single match. Like that's probably what caused it to
there were
some
more
degree.
nights off. There were a lot more
Yeah,
nights off. It was
exactly.
very noticeable last year. People would just not try against half of the block, whereas you didn't have that luxury this year. So, I mean, I kind of expected that they wouldn't do 20 again just because it cuts out so many people. Um, and it's kind of unnecessary in some ways. So I didn't think they would ever do the 20 again, but I think this year, with so many people ending up kind of getting hurt, I definitely don't think they'll ever be back to it. So I don't know. Um, like, to me, I'm always surprised there aren't more injuries because the style Stardom works is very intense. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of big moves that they take every night. It's very athletic, like, and then you're
not
traveling a lot as well. They go
yeah.
everywhere. Like if you're going out to Gifu and back to Tokyo and out to Osaka and you're training in between and you're wrestling, like your body is definitely going to have that wear and tear, and like AJW is probably the big go-to here because that was the Walking Wounded. If you look at the alumni list of that company, there are so many people who flamed out after 2 years from
I
injuries.
mean,
Like
and you
everybody.
think about it, this tournament does kind of remind me a lot of AJW because the only reason Manami Toyota is like considered a legend is because she got her big break when Akira Hokuto fucked her leg up in the middle of a tournament she was meant to win. So it's like I do think it's interesting that this is back to like the Suzu situation, but it's interesting that they didn't go full tilt with Suzu like they kind of did with Manami Toyota. Uh, you know, Manami Toyota didn't beat Bull Nakano in '90, but like I don't know, that's besides the point. But yeah, like this is very AJW esque. I was going to bring up in that New Blood tag. I was watching it near the end. And I was like, huh, like Azumi really hasn't been in the last 5 minutes of this match. I wonder what happened. Because I was just watching it and I was enjoying it, but I wasn't picking out every single thing that happened. Turns out she just took like the nastiest neck bump of all time and just didn't return to the match. Uh,
Oh,
and I
nice.
forgot that happened. Like that is the issue. Is that like I was watching that match and I was like, oh, what happened to Azumi? She's been out for a while. And I like went back a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, she just fucking died. That's great. And that's just Stardom. Like that's just how they work, and that is a bit concerning sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, this is an ultra competitive environment. There's 5 people waiting to take your spot at any one time, and that's going to lead people to push themselves farther than they probably should. So, I'm always surprised, as I said, this doesn't happen more often because in AJW, where you had a similar, competitive environment and a very heavy schedule, people there were always fucked up. Like they
Yeah.
were, and the amount of people who retired young due to injuries was huge. So, like with Stardom, this all happening at once is kind of like, yeah, that's to be expected. I mean, Natsupoi takes some hellacious bumps. Utami no sells these Germans, but that still probably hurts your neck to land
A
like
lot.
that.
Yeah.
Um, Momokogo, she's a beaten post, so she gets beaten around, and that's definitely gonna hurt. So yeah, I think this stuff is just gonna happen sometimes, and you probably could ease it off by not doing the 2 pay-per-views a month in the midst of a GP, but that's just what they do. That's what they have to do. They gotta make that money. So I
See,
don't
but
know.
that's the thing. I think that's the argument. Is that that's not what they have to do. They do not need to do that.
Well,
Like
Bushiroad would disagree. Like that's the issue
yeah.
here. I don't think Rossi wants to do 2 pay-per-views a month. He's clearly creatively stretched, given he's trying to come up with these weird ideas to sell gimmick pay-per-views now. But they need that extra revenue because they're a publicly traded company, and all of their other kind of endeavors are currently a bit iffy because they're doing a lot of R&D to try and like build the next new great card game or whatever. So I think they're relying on Stardom and New Japan to just keep pushing
But
and
that's the thing.
making money efficiently.
I think New Japan. The issue is that New Japan does get uh these situations, and I mean, but also as somebody who knows a little bit about New Japan, I will say this is not a Stardom exclusive issue. New Japan gets weeks off in between tournaments. Like the G1, they had a couple weeks off before they, had to come back for Destruction. The juniors all had off on throughout the G1, and then the heavyweights had off during the what's it called, the Best of Super Juniors. But there was discussion from Hiromu specifically, ace of the division, saying that like they're lucky that everybody didn't get fucking injured in the Best of Super Juniors because they were running so fucking often, and the tournament was like 10 hellacious matches in 25 days. Not even. And it's like you got to give us a break. Like you can't be running us like this. We're going to all get hurt. So this is like a Bushiroad issue. They are like this is a not the first time that someone has been like, hey, maybe we should like you know figure out a way to not all get hurt during these tournaments. Um, and that's the second time this year I'm talking about. That's not even like second time in like that's this year. That was a few months ago. So yeah, it's an issue all around because people were kind of comparing it to G1 in that it's like, oh, Stardom has a huge pay per view this weekend, uh, and the G1 had 3 weeks off afterwards to like let their people recover. Uh, but it's bad all around. It's bad all around. Let's make that clear.
It's definitely. But that's just where we're at, I guess. Um, let's see what else happened because I know there was more. 5-star GP award winners. If anybody cares, we had a skill award going to Azumi. She said this is her 5th year in a row getting an award. I don't think it's this specific award. I think
It
she's
is
just
this.
gotten
I'm pretty sure
awards.
it is this specific award.
It is. Wow, that's incredible.
Who would have
Fighting
thought
Spirit
their
Award.
best technical wrestler gets the same award every fucking year? It's very
Yeah.
funny to me.
The Fighting Spirit Award went to Natsuko Tora. Natsupoi got the Distinguished Service Award, which
Oh, I'm wrong.
I don't think that's the name. You are wrong? I thought
I am
so.
wrong. She got the Outstanding Performance Award once, the Fighting
Oh,
Spirit
no.
Award once, and the Technique Award 3 times. This is that's
Okay.
why I got confused. But yeah, I think she's one of the only wrestlers to get all 3 awards. I would imagine
Hmm.
that's kind of incredible.
Um, Natsupoi got the Outstanding Performance Award. She showed up late in a granny cardigan. Quite an interesting fit. Micah and Mariah got the Blue Stars Best Match Award for their match on the final day. Hazuki and Suzu Suzuki got the Best Match Award for the Red Stars block for their match on the Sendai show the week before. Micah got the runner-up trophy, and Suzu got the main trophy. On another note, there has been a full card announced for the October 15th Ota Ward pay-per-view. This is the Tag League opening day show. The card for this is Mirai and Mai Sakurai versus Tam Nakano and Yuna Mizumori. We have Micah and Megan Bain versus Ami Sourei and Lady C. Mayu Iwatani and Hanan versus FWC, and probably the biggest match of the blue block.
Wait, who is
Mina
that?
Shirakawa, Mayu and Hanan versus FWC.
Oh, okay. I just didn't hear the first team.
We have Mina and Waka against Sai Ida and Hanako. Suri and Saki Kashima versus Natsuko Tora and Momo Anabe. And Suzu Suzuki and Mei Sera versus Risa Sera and Karumi Hiragi. So Suzu versus Prominence is kind of the big draw there for Ota Ward. And the main event is a singles match, special singles match, no title on the line. Julia versus Michiko from Great.
Miyagi is back, baby. She returns from exile, from
Yeah,
banishment. First time in 3 years and 10 months. Uh, ain't that crazy?
incredible.
Uh,
That
it's
is
great.
pretty wild.
It's pretty funny how like every wrestler who Julia does dirty returns to Stardom, gets their ass beat by Julia, and either gets booed or apologizes. Like there's no like every time Julia's always the asshole, and then it's always they either have to apologize or they get booed, and it's crazy. But here we are.
Indeed. It was also announced that on the Fighting Spirit Unleashed show, I think it's later this month. I cannot get the exact date
28th, I
anymore.
believe.
Yes, it is Hyan challenging Julia for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. I'd put Hyan's name forward a few times because she retweeted one of the posts, and I was like, oh, she must be on the show. So there we are. It is Hyan versus Julia, and I'm into that. I think Hyan is pretty good. I'm surprised she hasn't signed already, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually they kind of like did a kind of switch up with me because Hayan's a very proud Texas wrestler, right? She's very prominent in the
Yeah.
Texas scene. So when they announced that there was going to be an IWGP match in Texas, I was like, oh, maybe they run her there instead because that would make more sense. And then they're like, nah, we do it exactly what you thought in the first place. And I was like, okay, cool.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that was fun. That'll be a fun match. It better
Yeah.
be because the other match is Eddie Kingston versus Aaron Henare. So
Jesus Christ.
yeah, don't want to see that guy very much.
CMLL carrying this card and then the
Oh,
Joshi.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Texas, Mayu Iwatani will be defending the IWGP Women's Championship on the November 10th New Japan Lone Star Shootout in Garland, Texas. So the both of the belts exist again, and I imagine Mercedes will challenge for one of them because that's her only thing to do.
John Moxley and Mayu Iwatani on the same card is kind of crazy. I'm gonna be real. Like just thinking about that for a second, it's gonna be dope.
Do you think he would know her? Like, do you think John Moxley has ever come across a
You know what's
Stardom?
funny is that like it's possible because Moxley's a weird. Like wrestlers are so weird. Like, did you know that Eddie Kingston's like a Konami fan?
That's very Eddie Kingston.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Is that's just like I could imagine randomly like just talking to John Moxley's like, yo, if you ever heard of fucking Mayu Iwatani, she's crazy. Like just out of nowhere. It's like, wait, but at the same time, it's very possible that he doesn't.
Yeah. think just rounding up what's happened over the past few days, the match involving Stardom talent at the Crush Gals anniversary show went to a draw. It was Hazuki Takumi and Chihiro Hashimoto wrestling to a 15-minute time limit draw with Siri, Mayuki, and Yu. This is in a sold-out 2,600 spectator Yokohama Budokan. So the Crush Gals still a
Going up to
draw
the 5-star.
18 years after their last appearance together. So
My
still going
favorite
strong.
part of since we haven't gotten to see the Crush Gals show, my favorite part of the Crush Gals anniversary is Mio Momono and Riko Kawahata doing all of the choreography to all the old Crush Gals songs in pajamas in the dorm and post them on YouTube. It was very funny. Uh, and then there was a video like a day later. Um, there was a video like a day later of Chigusa like correcting Rico's dancing, and Rico's like a professional dancer, and Chigusa's like, "Nah, you doing it wrong. Come on, get over here, get over here. Let me show you how to work." And I thought that was very funny. So shouts out to the Crush Gals and to the Marvelous Girlies and to everybody. That sounded like a fun show. I hope I see it at some point.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we haven't heard anything about it airing at all. Because I somebody put it a doc now, but who knows? Maybe it'll just be like a DVD exclusive show to like
It'll
get
become the Holy
people to
Grail
buy it.
of
Yeah,
this era.
possibly. There's a lot of stuff like that, which is
They
crazy.
sell
But
10 DVDs and it becomes like the One Piece. You gotta find it. Yeah, gotta search it out.
yeah.
Must have
Um,
boosties.
but yeah, I think we've got to all of the news
Only took us
somehow,
40
but
minutes.
there's only 40 minutes. I mean, to be fair, we did get in the GP winner and
Yeah.
like that. But there was some newsworthy shows this weekend that still have to be discussed, and a pay-per-view coming up. So we have a
You
lot
know
of
what?
fun.
Before we get into all that, uh, I do want to do the plugs because we didn't get to do the plugs today because it was so loaded. Um, so yeah, we're the Five Star Network. Shouts out Five Star Network. I'm going to be on Puro Gems this month. Alex was on it last month, and Alex refused to talk about male wrestling. I, on the other hand, didn't. So I talked about some late. I talked about some All Japan. Uh, Peps forced me to talk about Big Japan. And we
Oh
talked about
yeah,
like Pure J. We talked about Pure J, which I was excited about. That was really
hell
fun.
yeah.
That Kazuna Tanaka versus Chie Ozora match, unreasonably good. That should not have been as good as it was. Like that was like genuinely insane. Um, and yeah, we talked about some, some Joshi, some Seedling, some Sendai, all that good jazz. And also, I was on Pedro's show, The Plug, this week with Velke and Pedro, and we talked about the 5 star final and about like Skaban and about some TMDK stuff because they're dope and a bunch of other stuff for like 3.5 hours. So if you want to hear me
What
talk
Pedro
endlessly with Velke,
having to like
uh,
you
yeah,
know
yeah, no, I felt bad at
listen
one point
to
because I
that?
realized it was like this is mostly just me and Velke just like talking like shop about the most unnecessary things. We did not need to get into Pedro. Like I'm not saying that we talked over Pedro. Pedro was in it as well. But me and Velke obviously talk endlessly, and we talk about like Skaban and the business behind it and all that cool stuff. So if you want to hear that,
This is
go
why we
check that
don't
out.
let Velke near the show anymore. Because
Yeah.
you two just dump about your special interest for hours, and
Mhm.
it is something to behold, quite frankly. But yeah, I he's not allowed on anymore. um, so we have three shows to review. The first of which was on September 29th. This was Fiberplex presents New Blood 11. This is at the Shinagawa Intercity Hall in front of 357 fans. I didn't even check to see if that was a good number, which is very bad on my part, I think.
360
Because
is like very
I
middle of
believe
the road
that's
for New
better
Blood.
than where they were
Yeah,
trending.
I mean it's
I
fine.
will
Like I
check.
don't think it's bad. Uh, New Blood
Oh, New
10.
Blood 10, 361. Okay.
Yeah.
New Blood 9. 306. Okay, yeah, this is basically where they are anyway, I guess. Well,
And New Blood 8 was 407. So yeah, I mean like 300 to 400 is pretty much where they hit.
all right.
New Blood 8 was also coming right off of New Blood Premium, which was like their big one. So I get why they did a bigger number for that. Um,
Yeah.
So they're kind of set into the somewhere in the 300s, which is not bad for a rookie showcase.
Very true. This show opened with a three-way match. It was Hina beating Hanako and Kazuna Tanaka when Hina got a win with a Gato clutch over Hanako. This was pretty short, honestly. I kind of didn't even realize it went 7 minutes. I just kind of ended.
Yeah.
But Kazuna Tanaka was the real standout. She just had that oomph that wave trainees tend to do, where everything she does hits really well, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I love Kazuna. I love that Kazuna like got into this match believing in generation consciousness, where she was like, "Hey, Hanako, I don't want to team up on the big guy. I want to team up with my classmate right here." And by the end, her and Hanako were beating the fuck out of each other outside the ring after the match. Uh, that's how generation consciousness goes in Joshi wrestling. Uh, but yeah, I thought this was it was pretty nothing, but you kind of see like highlights from Kazuna there, and Hina and Hanako are just kind of wrestling pretty bare bones. But I thought Kazuna, every time she gets a chance to kind of show herself to a new audience, she really delivers. So yeah,
All right. The match after that was Rocca beating Lady C in 6 minutes with a freezer bomb. Um, yeah, it was all right.
this was better than it should have been, considering that I know both of them are incredibly unmotivated right now. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like for that I was like, you know what, this was solid. Like this was this is the best I expect out of an unmotivated Ruaka, because I don't expect anything out of an unmotivated Ruaka. So I was happy with it. Death taxes, Ruaka beats Lady C.
Shame. The shame. The next match was a
Lady C
three-way
got her
match.
puns
It
in though, so it
was.
doesn't matter.
That's fair. That is fair. It was Tekla beating Waka Tsukiyama and Sexy Dynamite Princess. Tekla won with a poisonous something drop um, in
The
six
square and
minutes.
compass, yeah,
Uh,
the
yes,
buttery square and
it
compass.
was revealed partway through that Sexy Dynamite Princess was actually Mariah May. Who
Dun dun
could have guessed it?
dun.
Tekla got a real overhaul. She had a remix to her
She
theme.
looks incredible.
She does. I'm loving the hair down. I'm loving the frizz. The gear is great. The remix theme is like slightly better than it was because she just kind of added in a few more like riffs. It's kind of cool. So yeah, a real overhaul here from Tekla, but it all worked. She's killing the game. And this match was so funny.
It was
I
very funny.
cannot. It's so insane to me that the Cosmic Rules match missed the mark so badly the first time because they have
Mm,
done this type of comedy so well ever since, but
yeah.
like they completely missed that first time with the Cosmic
Yeah,
Rules. Like
I
it
even
just
thought the
didn't work.
second one was like an improvement, and this was like what it wanted to be. You know what I mean? Um, that was like really funny. I loved the kind of like comedy in it, where it's like because Mariah or Sexy Diamond Princess kept going, "Oh, I'm sexy," and Tekla in Japanese is like, "Oh, you're sexy, huh? Yeah, yeah, you're sexy," and like the crowd just pops because it's like Tekla just like in a kind of like defeated was like, "Yeah, you are sexy. That's true," and I love that. I love all the points in this match. Did we figure out if I could say the c word on air?
I think I mean, like I would
Can you
say
say
it,
it for
and
me? Because I think that was like the highlight of the match
mm,
was the punting. The
what was
the
it you called it? The cunt punt.
yes.
Was that it? Yes,
Classics,
because
classics,
she was she was kicking her in the dick, but she does not have a dick. So it was,
and I loved
yeah,
because they did that spot way worse in DDT the other week. Um,
of course.
but this spot was so funny because for whatever reason, Sexy Dynamite Princess had a steel crotch that could not, that was not, you can't hurt her by kicking her in the crotch. Um, but then Tekla demasks her and punts her. Um, and she just sold it like it was the worst pain she's ever been in, and I loved it. Then Tekla did that to Waka too and hit the finish and won. And that's not even counting that's not even speaking of the time that they just kissed each other repeatedly for reasons. Uh, and
Yeah,
six time my princess like got knocked out. Like Tekla kissed her and she just passed out, and I was like, "That's crazy." Okay, we're here.
yeah. I thought Waka was like low key the best part because she was trying to go with the sexy dynamite princess stuff, and it's just such an odd visual seeing
Yeah.
Waka do that. Like her
She did
doing
the
the
worst
very
Bronco Buster ever.
the very stiff attempt at a Bronco Buster, and I was like, that is so Waka
Oh,
core. I
she
cannot
she
even.
she did a terrible Bronco Buster, and then she got up, and then she went up to her and just like crotched her, like just fucking like thrust it into her face, and it was stiff as hell. Like she looked like she knocked her out. Oh man, what a weird match to just like dissect, but it was very funny. I enjoyed it.
Oh
I thought it
yeah,
was great.
no, it
Good
just like
send off. Good
comedically
send
it
off
worked.
for Sexy Dynamite Princess.
Yeah, she did hand the mask to Waka after the match, so maybe there is going to be a lineage of the sexy Dynamite Princess, which would be very funny. Um,
Oh, that's one thing we
the match
missed.
after that.
Mina teased a new member.
Oh yeah, shit. There was so much. I knew we missed something. So Mina Shirakawa said, well, I think Waka said she wanted to challenge for the New Blood tag belts, and she put forward Momoka Hanazono. But Mina said, I've actually been planning on getting us a new member for Club Venus, but it's a Japanese member, and they've already been on New Blood. That kind of narrows it down to it's like a handful that people are expecting. Marika Kobashi is the main one. I think people have settled on. It's probably her. Um, it could be now Ishikawa, although I don't think that's very likely, considering she was the Tam clone,
She has
and she's
ties
kind
to
of with
Tam and
prominence anyway.
Julia and prominence and
Yeah,
not
yeah. She's
not Mina.
so like Club Venus wouldn't really be it. I think Hanazono was also put forward, but she probably isn't Club Venus either.
I think
So I feel like it has
Hanazono,
to be Marika
Ancham,
Kobashi.
Hanazono,
Oh,
Ancham, and
Ancham was the other one. Yeah,
Kobashi.
yeah, Ancham. But I think Kobashi. I don't know. I think
She
Kobashi
also
fits a
speaks
bit more.
English.
Yeah, but I could see
Some
her doing the
English.
dance, and I feel
That too.
like you have to be able to do the dance, or else what's the point?
I don't know. Zito was there. Jesse was there. Zaya was there. Only a few people have been able to do
Xena
the.
tried the
Waka is
dance.
there. None of these people can do the dance. Okay, yeah, Xena was fine at the dance. I meant to say Zaya,
Yeah,
honestly, but
Jesse also tried the dance, so it's
you know, anybody could try the
leave
dance.
Jesse alone. Leave Jesse out of this, okay? She's getting a match with Miyu Yamashita soon. She's a
That's true.
beast.
I did see that.
Yeah. The next match anyway was a Kozen promotion assessment match. Tam Nakano beat Yuna Mizumori in 12.5 minutes with a violet screwdriver. This is kind of your standard like rookie fights up against a star match where Tam was like beating her down and Yuna was like fighting back and throwing hard slaps and stuff like that. It's not a match that's brand new to us as Joshi fans,
No.
but it's always kind of enjoyable.
I will also say that we've learned that Tam is at least better at one thing compared to Natsupoi, and it is this sort of match. Because I thought this was
Yes.
like a way better use of Unimon's underdog, and just like her fiery comeback type of stuff. It was way better used than her match with Poi, because I thought the Poi match was just not really like it didn't work. I think, um, and this one did. I actually really like this match relatively to how much I usually like Yuna and Tam in matches together. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Yuna was throwing some lariats, man. They were slugging, and I was rocking with
Yeah.
it. So I was happy with
The
this.
slaps
The
were
violet
pretty great
shooting.
too.
One other, yes, the slaps as well. But one other thing is that I don't give a lot of praise to Tam in her modern iteration. I don't say that, oh, this is better now than it used to be. Her violet shooting, at some point, she has figured out how to do it. Um, it took like 6 years, but nowadays, I thought that the violet shootings in this match, the knee strikes were really good looking. So shout out to her.
So after the match, Tam confirmed that Yuna Mizumori has joined Cosmic Angels. She kind of didn't really play around. She was like, "Yeah, you don't make my face ugly, but I think you're ready. You've been working hard for months to join. You're in the group." And then Tam Nakano was dropping some life advice. I think she dropped her hardest bar ever. She was like, "What was it? I tweet this out. Oh yeah, work hard and die with all your might." That right there is prime Tam Nakano.
This was
That is
very
exactly her vibe.
joining an idol group. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Yes.
this whole time has been a tryout, and it's like now is the real test, you motherfucker. It's like, oh boy,
Yeah.
that's a lot. Yuna got a new nickname. That was what I took from this post match
Yes.
Mariah.
Good nickname too.
Is the most
Unsinkable.
unsinkable in the universe.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's great. Like, this whole thing has done well for Yuna in some ways. Like, she gets a cool new nickname. She earns this kind of underdog kind of vibe.
Her hair was a
Crowd was
choice.
behind her. I liked the hair. I won't lie to you.
It it was different. It's different. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Certainly different.
Well, she
She's a
makes strong choices.
unsinkable Christmas pineapple now. That's what she is.
Yeah. Well, that's Unimon for you. But I thought Tam's promo here was great and really kind of put over just how hard you have to work to get into Cosmic Angels, which is always nice to see. Um,
Unless they're
so that
on their
was
last legs and you're Sayorianu, then it's very easy. Incredibly easy.
yeah, but I mean, that's a renowned wrestler Soriano who would say no to a multiple-time world champion. I don't know about that. Um, From the Tamshin injection match to the Passion injection match, we had
That was
Nanai
rough.
Takahashi
That was rough.
beating May Sarah in 14 and a half minutes with a Queen Bee bomb. This was like a prime 2019 Marvelous match. Like, this was not May Sarah, this was May Hoshizuki.
Yep.
And I had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, May got a little heat with me because she jumped into Nai like a second before her interesting theme got to the good part. And the music cut off. I was like, man, why you got to do that? I like that part. But obviously I knew Nai was going to win, so I got to hear it later. Uh, Yeah, I thought, and I've said this before. I think Sarah's selling is like legit one of the best in the company. She is so good at selling, and when you're in there with Nanai, I think that's a huge, uh, you know, it's a way to make the match great. Even though you don't really need to sell for Nanai because Nanai is going to make you sell. So, you know, uh, yeah, I thought it was like really good. I think that these passion injection matches usually kind of hover around the same spot where they don't really like shine any more than any other passion injection match, but it's varying levels of really good. Uh, I thought this was like again a varying level of really good. I think that this match told me that there's going to be a big payoff for the passion injection stuff when someone draws with Nanai, because they
Mhm.
were getting there. They were at like 14:30, I think, when the match ended, and I think it's going to be huge when somebody ends up pushing a draw against Nanai, and that means Nanai doesn't have to end her series because we've kind of looked at it that's like, oh, when somebody proves that they can beat Nanai in a passion injection match and has more passion than Nanai, Nanai doesn't really she can't really do the passion injection match much anymore. Um, so I think whoever they really want to put over against Nanai can draw against her. I think that would be a pretty big spot for whoever it is. Uh, but yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. We can get to the the post match in a second. But you can talk about the match if you had any thoughts on it.
No, I mean, I kind of just had that broad thought that it was a 2019 Marvelous match,
Yeah.
because May was pulling out the cool shit, and it was just that kind of scrappy underdog versus pushed veteran kind of dynamic that I'm really into. Um, and yeah, the post match was kind of the standard Nanai fare. She was like, "Hey, you gotta go and you gotta win now. You gotta win that high speed belt. I promise I won't challenge you for it. So go ahead and win it." And May Sarah, much like Saya Ida, promised to wrestle her again after winning a belt. So
I will say, and this almost moved me to tears. When May and Nanai hugged and shook hands, Nanai just had this look on her face like the proudest aunt in the world. And I just like it genuinely warmed my heart because obviously Nanai cares about younger wrestlers. I don't know if y'all know that. Nanai does care about younger wrestlers, but I don't know. There was just like this feeling of like I don't know. You know how long they've known each other. Nanai was always around when May was kind of uh training and debuting and very early in her career. So there was just this real look in Nanai's face when they hugged that just looked so genuine. Like you're gonna be something, and I just thought that was really sweet. So yeah, first of two sweet Nanai moments of the night.
Indeed, indeed. The next match, though, was a Future of Stardom Championship match. Rina beats Azusa Inaba in 12 minutes with a Pink Devil. This is her third successful defense. Um, this is an interesting match. I don't think it's like amazing, but it was good. And really, when the combined age of these wrestlers is like 30, that's really all you can ask for. Um, he had a lot of limb work, and I thought that could have been interesting. Like it was the tale of two limbs, because Azusa was targeting the knee, I think mainly, and Rena
Yeah.
was targeting the arm, because they both have submission moves in their arsenal. So that was just kind of interesting. They worked it like that, but yeah, it was the kind of match where you're like, you definitely could have done with a veteran to like completely lead it, but this is a good rep for both of them.
Yeah, I think Azusa's flaws were more noticeable because she had to work on top early on. And she doesn't have to do that ever. Uh Usually she just gets her like big second half of the match, and that's where everybody's like, "Oh, she's incredible." And in this match, the second half where she was kind of throwing her big stuff was incredible. Uh but and I think similar to Tomoka early on, there is kind of an issue with her early match before she gets into the like hard hits and the like real intense submission stuff. Uh Azusa still is lacking there. But after this match, I like looked online and I realized Azusa's only been wrestling for 6 months. I feel like she's coming up on like a year, but it's been like she debuted this year, like in February or something like that. So relatively no notes. You know what I mean? Like just keep going.
Yeah.
Uh But yeah, I thought this was like a really fun match overall. I thought that it was really interesting that Azusa kept figuring out ways to kind of get out of the hydrangea or reverse the hydra. Like I thought that was great. And then Reno going for it one last time, and then just immediately going and doing the Gory Bomb, the Pink Devil, and winning. Perfect. Like that's a very smart finish to the match. I really liked it. Um, After the match, Rena invited Azusa to come be a fellow delinquent with her. Uh, and they kind of hugged and shook hands. So it looks like that might
Rena
be a
like
thing.
put her over more
Yeah.
than she's put people over before. She was like, "Hey, you're 15. You've only been here for 6 months. You are a monster." And I didn't say that before this match because I didn't want to hype you up, but you are amazing. And she said, "Let's hunt hags together." So she was like,
You know
"Well,
what
let's
this
beat up the old ladies."
you know what this makes me feel? Rina
Yes.
Azusa versus Tomoka and Hanan? Dream.
Oh my god,
Dream match right there.
incredible.
Like that's a match you
Um,
could put on any show anywhere and it'll be like I'm ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. After that, Rena, she had a bit of a funny line. She was like, "Hey, the next New Blood is in Kansai. Usually, I don't get to go there on tour. It's too far, but they have to bring me. It's New Blood." And she did name Hanako and Miyo Masaki as potential challengers for that
Because they're
show.
they're from the
Uh,
Kansai region.
yeah, I would not name Kevin because I feel like she's gonna lose if Miyo Masaki challenges.
Yeah.
But so maybe keep that name out of your mouth
Especially
and be
considering
a
she
bit
didn't
clever.
lose the main event. It definitely leads me to
Yes,
believe that Miyu's probably winning the belt from Rina.
potentially.
I
But yeah,
hope
I
I
thought
hope
this
Hina
was
gets the match first, before Miyu wins it.
mm,
But Miyu's
maybe,
probably gonna win it.
possibly. But yeah, I thought this is kind of match where I went, this is what New Blood is meant to be, and
Mhm.
this will pay dividends in the future because much like Tomoka and Hanan have a built-in rivalry if they ever want to do it, Azusa and Rina have a built-in relationship. There's a few other wrestlers, kind of young wrestlers on the scene now that have built-in relationships with Stardom wrestlers just from having appeared on New Blood. But also, you're getting these reps in big matches, and that can only help people. Like in an ideal world, New Blood is going to pay off so much down the line just based on what they're doing now. And I'm kind of interested to see how that develops over time.
I also think Rossi was like almost a genius, like not even a genius, like a great foreteller for starting New Blood when he did, because since New Blood has began, one of the greatest rookie generations in recent memory has begun in Joshi, like across Joshi. So, you know, uh, getting to see Kazuna on here, hopefully Hanoka comes back, Moran's around on here. I hope the Evo girls can show up one day. Like crazy foresight from him because like he just stumbled across this idea of like, oh, let's do some rookie shows that highlights people from like rookies from around the scene, and then all every company was like, you know what, we're gonna have at least one insane rookie come out in the next year or two. So great foresight.
Yeah, this is something he's tried to do before.
Mhm.
Like he was very much the brains behind the All Star Junior Festival that happened in Joshi in like 96, 98 maybe. I can't remember the exact year. But like presenting Joshi Juniors as actual wrestlers and giving them a platform has been something he's tried before. It just didn't really work last time because it came at a point where the scene had splintered so much
Yeah.
that you was just AJW rookies and Gaia rookies basically.
Not to dwell on it too
Whereas
much. Go ahead. You can finish. Go ahead.
no, it's all right.
Not to dwell on it too much, but it's wild that Marvelous is the only company that doesn't have like any rookie right now. That's like they just don't have a rookie. They have Iahozan, who's been around for like 4 years now, maybe about four, like three. Like that's because like
Yeah,
Marvelous historically has been like the company that trains really good wrestlers. Even if it's not like they train main eventers, they have a pretty high hit rate of just like insanely competent wrestlers, and they just haven't lately in like years.
yeah, they got that new girl from Thailand, I think, to train, but she hasn't debuted yet. She's like
I
the
guess they're
last
more
one that I even
focusing.
know of.
I think they're more focusing on bringing over Americans, but we'll
Yeah,
see
they
how
seem to
that
be
goes.
going for Marvelous USA again, that kind of idea, because
Mhm.
I think
I mean,
Chigusa just really wants to expand into America like that.
and I think
So I don't
Sandra
know.
like benefited greatly from her few matches in Marvelous. So it's not like it's nothing, but you know, just a thought.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot to be in if you're relying on foreign talent to beef up your card, especially if they're gonna only last like a handful of dates. But I don't really know. I mean, they're bringing over like Gigi Ray and Promise Braxton, I'm pretty sure. So that's for me. Like, I think they're
They're
both
also
awesome.
they're also
So
bringing over some dudes for Leo to wrestle, which is good for Leo. I know you don't really care, but Leo has needed like some variety in these Marvelous shows for a long time. That isn't just him getting beat up every like a couple times a year by a massive star. So him getting in some good indie names from America is going to be fun because they have some good guys coming in actually as well. And you don't
yeah,
hear me praise a lot of male indie wrestlers in America, but the people that I'm hearing that they're bringing in sound pretty decent. So
West Coast, Best Coast, huh?
yeah,
Isn't that what they say?
right on.
Um, but anyway, the main event of this show was a New Blood Tag Team Championship match. Hanan and Saya Ida won the titles by beating Karma and Starlight Kid and the team of Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. Hanan got the win over Starlight Kid with 17 in just under 15 minutes. This was great. Like this was genuinely a great tag team match. Everything you could want from a tag team match. Just high action, lots of drama, lots of big near falls. Like you could put this in any company and it would steal the show. Like no matter
Oh,
where it is,
100%.
no matter what the audience is, they would go, "Holy shit, that was great."
100%. Like this is the Joshi you show people. You know what I mean? That's like, oh, you want to see some crazy shit right now? Like without them, I mean, they did kill each other. Like I said earlier, Zumi took a neck bump that was just the most disgusting thing you'll ever see. But uh, this was like that. This was the a Joshi match that you show people because it was just 14 minutes of nonstop action. They were going at it. Blink and you miss it. Like straight up, I was watching the show last night and I'm a bit tired. I'm a bit tired right now. And I was a bit tired last night. I wasn't really feeling in the mood to watch a ton of wrestling, but this match specifically like forced me to like be fully invested. Cause I would look at my phone for a half a second, I would miss seven things. I'd be like, okay, I can't, nope, I need to, nope. And I was just fully in it. And that is the tell of a really great high octane match. And that's exactly what this was. Stars had some intel though, because those girls were trying to break kids' ankle. Like they were going to deep measures in this match. Hanan was just being a fucking asshole. She was just like stopping it. It was crazy. I was like, damn, like kid's actually injured. You should probably like calm down a little bit. Because they were stiffing her too. It was insane. Kid was getting her shit rocked this match.
Yeah, poor kid was taking a beating, and she like very clearly hurt her leg at a point. It was actually her and Azumi were doing their like high speed stuff,
Yeah.
and kid just came up, very much favoring her leg. And there was still a couple of minutes of like high octane action left, so she worked a lot of the finishing stretch on that bum knee or bum leg, which is crazy. But yeah, she like was very clearly hurt after an exchange with Azumi. Um, but her, her anatomy was good, obviously. The highlight of the match, though, was definitely the Saida exchanges, because I
Yep.
think she was in there with Kid for a while.
Mhm.
And following on from the passion injection match that Ida had, this crowd really desperately wanted Ida to win. She was getting very loud chants during that entire exchange. They were very into her. I think it was almost a strange decision that Hanan won the match for their team, given Ito was so popular,
You
but
know
I don't think
what's
it really mattered.
interesting that I just thought about?
What?
This year has been the payoff of the golden generation. Because like
Oh yeah,
Kameka
yeah,
got the biggest crowd reaction in years at that first show in the tag match. Um, Utami in the cage match. Utami and Saya. Saya's just Saya, so it's like she's always great and like she always,
yeah,
But Utami and Saya in the cage match. Micah at the 5-star final. Ida on these New Blood shows. Like that core. Sorry, Mariah. That core. Mariah's not in it. Let's just call a spade a spade. She's not in it. That golden generation core really like this year has like just paid dividends because those like maybe they're not the most consistently popular wrestlers, but you can pinpoint like some of the biggest reactions, some of the hottest crowds of the year in Stardom, and most of them involve the golden generation, and they've all gotten their moments. And I think I agree. This match was in part. This was like the second half of Ida's moment, because that weekend with her and Micah and her and Nanai, that was the first half, and this was like really this was Ida's time to shine. And I thought Hanan was also along for the ride, which is great. Uh, I really like
yeah,
Hanan's role as like early on. I kind of noticed something where it's like Kid and Azumi went to square up, and Hanan kind of came in like, "Hey, I'm fucking here too," and started like going at it. And I've always thought of that very interestingly with Hanan because she's been around for almost the same amount of time as Kid. Like I think a year or two later, maybe three. But like she's been around for a long time. She's only a year younger than Azumi is, uh, but she's always been seen as a very lower ranking wrestler than the two of them. So I kind of like them playing into the idea of her being like, "No, I'm just as good as y'all. Like I'm here too. We're not that far off in age, not that far off in experience, except for Azumi because Azumi's a freak." And I really liked how Hanan kind of played into that, and I like that Hanan got her time with Kid as well. I love this match if you couldn't tell.
yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was great as well, and I thought it was a really nice payoff to what they were doing with Ida, and it was a much needed payoff as well. I mean, you cannot have that post match promo with Nanai. You can't have people chanting her name and then not pay it off at the first possible opportunity. So even though she didn't get the win for her team, it was you still got that visual of her with the belts, and I think that was the important part. And everybody else in the match was really great, and they built that tension really well. But you could tell the entire time that the audience wanted Wing Gory to get the win, and I think that really helped a lot for the finishing stretch. So this is a great night for Ida and a great one for Hanan because yeah, she gets to lead her team to the win. She gets another title under her belt, one of the few titles that she can conceivably win at her age. So it was a good one all around for the Stars duo there.
Yeah. And after the match, Nanai came out and Ida yelled passion at her, and Nanai yelled passion back at her, and they were kind of like, "Good job, man." And May Sarah also came out and congratulated Ida. And then on the other side of the ring, because everybody comes out at the end of New Blood, obviously, and Mariah, who was seconding Hanan in this match, actually. I don't know if anybody noticed, she was seconding Hanan with Hanan's T-shirt on. Uh, and she got in the ring and hugged Hanan and was like, "Congratulations!" And this was the whole thing. Yeah, this was a really good show. I hate that these aren't streamed anymore because like I I never really watched them live, but now I want to, and they're not. Do you know what I mean? Because like these are great shows.
Yeah. See, because they always happen on like a Friday or a Saturday, they were handy to just like tip away at over the weekend instead of having to squeeze it in on a Tuesday
Hmm.
or Wednesday, like we have to
Exactly.
now. Like it was good to just be like, oh, it's a Friday, I have nothing else going on, or it's a Saturday, I will watch some of the New Blood. Whereas now it's like, well, I don't get to do that.
It
So
also pushes back
yeah,
the Corkin, for example. Uh,
yeah, that's not up
like shit like
like at
that.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I kind of said that because the Stardom English account was like, "Oh, this is such a great show. This might be our
Yeah.
best New Blood ever." And I was like, "Well, man, maybe you should stream them again. I don't know. That'd be cool." So yeah,
It's
I get
also just
zesty sometimes, you
like
know.
a match like this being free on YouTube would do wonders. Like maybe not wonders, but
Yeah,
like I said, this tag match was the sort of match that you just show a wrestling fan who doesn't really watch a bunch of Joshi because it was just so nonstop. It was just chaos. It was great, and I'm just like, man, like if this was for free on YouTube, this is the perfect match to be free on YouTube. It sucks that it's not.
yeah. This is gonna go down as a hidden gem. I think you
Hmm.
know. It's weird to say stuff like that in real time, but you know, this is a New
But no,
Blood
definitely.
show.
I mean, like as
It's
of
a
now,
Joshi.
like I like a lot of people haven't been like talking about that main event, or the show in general outside of like some praise for Azusa because she's 6 months in and had like a very good showing as a singles wrestler. Um, but yeah, like even now I'm just like, how is nobody talking about this?
Yeah, like that's just how it is. And you know, it's kind of like it'll be like those Japan tag title matches that we would have watched for
Yeah,
VTG a little bit from like 91, 92, where in the
yeah,
moment you're like, oh, this is awesome. They never get praise, and now if you go back and watch it, they're like hidden gems. And I think
yeah.
this is going to end up a match like that where not a lot of people will see it, but those who do will go, holy shit, this was worth it. So
You know,
yeah.
we're going long already and we have a lot to talk about, but that is a great comparison because we have been asking for Japanese tag team titles in this company since this show started, basically, and they have 'em, and that's awesome. Like,
Yep.
this is great.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
this was our Yoshida and Inoue versus Hasegawa
Yeah,
and her tag partner,
Debbie.
whoever. I think she cycled. Was it her that
Yeah,
cycled or Yoshida? I can't
it,
remember.
it was usually Debbie and Hasegawa, but
Yeah,
I think she cycled in a couple other wrestlers.
yeah, because I remember there was a few combos. But either
Yeah,
way, this is
it was usually
our
Yoshida and
that.
Hasegawa, but yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. And yeah, the post match promo was nice. Ida was like between crying and laughing. Just enjoy
Yeah.
it. It was like, yeah, you go, girl. But yeah, that was that show. Next show to review, September 30th. 5 Star presents 5 Star GP 2023, supported by SoftBank Championship match. This was in the Yokohama Budokan. It had a sold out 2,507 fans. For all of 24 hours, this was the highest attended show at the Yokohama Budokan ever, only for the Crush Gals to stomp it out the next day. And the Crush Gals could have probably sold more tickets, but they just did not have space.
Itsuki
So,
Aoki,
uh,
thanks for the house, homegirl. That's so real of you.
hell yeah. Um, you had the show starting with a battle royal. Suzu Suzuki won the battle royal. Probably should have been a tip off to what was going to come later, but
Better than
oh
most
well.
pre-show battle royals. That's all I like.
Love
It was
that.
fun.
Great
It was
stuff.
fun, which is more than a lot of them are.
So the opening match then of the show proper was Hanan beating Mariah May in 8 minutes and 47 seconds with 17. This is a pretty solid opener. Had a good time. Mariah did the honors for Hanan, as you'd kind of expect.
Yeah. This probably got more time than it was destined to, which I was very happy about. Because it felt like destined to get like 5 minutes, and then Mariah could just kind of like say a few words in Japanese and then have to dip. But they kind of let it,
Yeah.
you know, let it ride a little bit, and I really liked that. I appreciated it. Um, yeah, this was good. Again, who would have thought another great match from Mariah and from Hanan in this tournament, who were pretty consistent throughout the tournament, considering they were undercarders going in. Like they were the two, not questions, but they were the two people who kind of expected to maybe be off days for other people, but they just forced so much great things in this tournament, and including this match. It was really, really fun. Um, yeah, I mean, there were some like
Ye-
trades, like uh, Hanan started doing Mariah's double overhand chops, and she just does those now, and I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, I like this match.
Yeah, the post match was kind of the main part because
Yeah,
Mariah May got to kind of speak and got to confirm that this was her last show with Stardom for this tour. Poor Hanan was a wreck.
she
Waka
was
on
going her
commentary
ass out.
was a wreck. They were in bits. Mariah May dropped another hard line. There was a couple of hard lines this weekend when she said Mariah May was here, and that
Which I always
was
think of like
probably
the
the best
Bart
way
Simpson,
possible. To,
like the
yeah,
spray paint. Like that's like I don't know. I love Mariah May. She's great. I also think back
yeah,
to our homie Scott's interview with her, where she said her biggest goal, her biggest dream, is to be able to cut a promo in the ring in Japanese and hopefully get the approval of the Japanese crowd when she does so. So like watching this, I actually did cry because I was just like, "Oh, homegirl got to do it. That's so sweet. I'm so happy for her. I'm so proud of her." Um, so yeah, shout out to Mariah May one more time 'cause she's great.
yeah. Um, After that, then we had Momo Watanabe beating Azumi in 8 minutes with a peach sunrise. This was a good match, but it definitely lacked because they were both eliminated. So it was kind of
Yeah,
just like
they were both
their
eliminated,
usual
and
stuff.
also Momo needed the win. So I was just like, like I there wasn't a lot. Like usually Azumi matches that are live usually can have a little bit of like a vibe to them, where it's like, oh, maybe she'll get it, and this one just didn't. Um, with that being said, they're great together. So like it was pretty baseline, but I mean even the baseline is still pretty good. This is currently rated as
Yeah.
like a top 3 match of the night on Gauge Match. That's how baseline good they are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't really disagree with that, to be honest. It was pretty strong.
Momo's anti-air
After
is
that,
also incredible. Uh, she
yes,
always does the kick out of the anti-air with like the triple jump, but she popped Azumi up when she was going for the Canadian Destroyer and just killed her. And I was like, okay, that's sick. Like some of the stuff is really sick. Azumi also took a neck bump on a kick out. Like Momo kicked out of a
incredible.
move, and Azumi blasted herself back and took a neck bump. I was like, "Homegirl, you have been wrestling for 10 years and you're 21 years old. You cannot be taking any more neck bumps than you need to. Please be, please don't do that. Please stop." Um, but yeah, good
Will do.
match.
Uh, yes, good match. And after that, then we had a Blue Stars block match. Saori Ano beat Mina Shirakawa in 11 minutes with a small package hold. I thought this was really good. Watching it live unspoiled. Some of the near were amazing. There was one
Oh
on
yeah,
I think the pot that I was like, oh, that's it, it's over. And it was over shortly after, but I thought it was over sooner.
she killed me.
Mina was doing some really cool technical work. Like she was really going for it. So yeah, I thought they had like a really good match that showed that down the road they could probably have an excellent match. Um, so yeah, I was into it.
This was this was my favorite Mina match of the tournament, and probably my favorite Ano match of the tournament. Ano had a lot
Wow.
of matches that like brinked like on like great, but then like just were like an inch off. And I thought this was like just barely great, if that makes sense. um, so yeah, I thought this was like, and plus watching it live, like you said, I was vehemently in Anu's corner. So like I was like on the edge of my seat watching this. I was super in it. Like you said, pottering was insane. It killed me. And I thought that the technical work was really well done. I like when there's someone to go hold for hold with Mina, right? Like that is I've realized that's what I want out of Mina's matches because I think we've seen throughout this tournament a lot of wrestlers who weren't really doing that, and it felt like a styles clash for me between Mina and whoever she was wrestling against. And this one didn't. It felt like it was just like exactly what it was meant to be, and I like that a lot. So yeah, I like this a lot.
All right, that result eliminated Mina Shirakawa from the tournament, and it set up our next match as a straight shootout to qualify for the final. It was a Blue Stars block match. Maika beat Mirai in 11 minutes with a Michinoku Driver 2. This was just two bulls rushing at each other. Mirai seemed like really comfortable and as if she was going to run down the clock and just go through with a draw. She actually had the win in her grasp. Like she was on the verge of winning with the Miramari shock, only for Micah to reverse it and get a kind of out of nowhere Mishi driver to get the win. It was like I loved the finish It was just straight from Mariah going for her finish into a sudden Michinoku driver and Micah turning the tides completely.
I love Micah's use of the Flash Michinoku driver a lot. Because of matches like this, where like the story of the match is like, can Micah win this match within 15 minutes? Like that was the story of the match because Mirai just didn't just had to not lose and she would be through. So I really liked that it's like they were kind of they didn't get to the point where it's like, oh, it's 14 minutes in. When did this one end? This one was only 11 minutes.
11.
Uh
Yeah.
like, so they didn't push it because Micah just won, right? Because of the Michinoku driver out of nowhere, and like because of how protected that move is, and because of how seamlessly she hits it, and how it's just really like an out of nowhere move. Uh, it just was perfect. Where it's like Micah didn't even get close to having to go home via draw, and she just was like, "Nah, it's over. It's over 11 minutes." And I thought this was super good. I definitely see them having a better match in the future, uh, but I like this a lot. Yeah.
All right. With that result, Micah was through to the Blue Stars or to the GP final. And we only had the Red Stars block to go. I think by now most people were like, "Oh, they're doing Micah and Suzu," except for you, who was probably still holding on to hopes of Tam.
No,
But
I was
our next
the thing
match,
is, I was excited for a Suzu win, like, I was rooting for it, but I knew that would cause an issue. So, like, I didn't
I
wanna
see.
see Tam versus Micah, but I wanted Micah to win, so I did, but I also wanted to see
Mhm.
Suzu. It was just I was conflicted.
Okay. Our match after that was a Red Stars block match. Ami Sore beat Siri in 9 minutes with a reversal of the Suzaku. So this was another good Amisori match. She was up for it. She was doing good tempo, and I enjoyed it. But it was very forgettable. I cannot lie
Yeah.
to you.
I thought the early stuff was interesting, but they kinda lost me, and this kind of ended up being the weakest match of the tournament matches this show. Just because it was just like you said, forgettable. I don't really remember much past early on. Ami was just like chopping her, and Shuri would try to get away, and she just wouldn't stop. I thought that was a really cool spot. Beyond that, I don't really remember much from this.
That's fair. Uh, the result of that match blew the block wide open as Tam and Natsuko Tora now just needed to win to go through, which led to our next match, which was a Red Stars block match. Hazuki beat Natsuko Tora, eliminating her from the tournament in just under 10 minutes with a Hazuki straddle. I thought Tora was very clearly pulling out like every trick in the book to try and beat Hazuki, only for Hazuki to eventually persevere and get the Hazuki straddle. And it was a pretty good layout for this kind of match.
Yeah, I thought this was great. This was my favorite match. Not my favorite match of the night. This final was, but this was one of my favorite matches of the tournament. It's in my top five. I just loved this. It was exactly the match you want. Natsuko, it was interesting because Natsuko hasn't really had a match like this since she's gotten back. Because obviously she's gotten back and she's proved that she's really great still, and she is a great tag wrestler and she could still do a lot of stuff that she used to be able to do. But she hasn't really had a match where like she showed off all of her old fast burst offense that I used to call like the spear was sick. Like that she just was running like constantly. She was constantly like doing these huge moves and doing them fast and doing them at like a really good tempo that's like okay, this is like the match that you want to see out of Natsuko. This is what I was waiting for in this tournament from her because I saw throughout the tournament that she was doing a lot of great stuff, but she really I just really wanted to see one genuinely great match from her, and this was it. And I was super happy about it. Obviously Azuki doesn't miss in singles matches on pay-per-view. Like I'm pretty confident in that. I think she's had like one that wasn't great since she's been back. So, you know, uh, never never count out the Buster. And yeah, really really good.
All right. Then we had
One oh wait, one more thing
block.
post match. One more thing post match. I'm sorry. Natsuko because Hazuki got the Hazuki stroll to win, and Natsuko got up. She drop kicked Hazuki, was throwing shit around, got out of the ring, took her water and spit in the female host's face, like the Bushiroad host girl. And the host, she just looked at her and like was just like she liked it, and it was very strange. It was kind of homoerotic. I'm gonna be real. But I was cool with it. It was a funny look for Natsuko to just be fucking all mad, and then this girl's just looking in the crowd, just like looking at her like Yeah, you spit in my face, but that's okay. And I thought that was very funny. Let's move on.
All right. Okay. We had a Red Stars block shootout then, with Tam Nakano needing to win to go through. Loss would send Suzu Suzuki into the final. Natsupoi secured the win for Suzu when she beat Tam in 11 minutes with a fairy train. I thought this was a great match. This is the kind of stuff that got us excited when they first teased a feud last year, because they were having these like really great interactions and tag matches. They were just like throwing each other around. They were hitting each other. Obviously the feud ended up being a bit hit or miss, but they
Mm.
obviously had good chemistry, and I think they
More
built
misses than
on that
hits.
chemistry here.
I thought this
Yes.
was probably their
Uh,
best match. Singles.
yeah,
Uh,
I'd say so.
I preferred it to the other ones, even though I will say the finish and near the end it kind of lost itself. Um, but yeah, I thought the match itself, like Poi, I was genuinely starting to sympathize for her because she was just getting brutalized early on, and I really like that because I don't really care, like she's not my favorite wrestler, so it's hard for me to have like genuine sympathy for her and like suspend that disbelief, but I really did. Um, and I thought that made this match really, really good. Uh, Natsupoi, despite being canonically very dumb, is also a very smart wrestler. I think some of the sequences she did early on were just like really like well timed and well executed and very smart. So yeah, good match, really good match.
Yeah, no, great match. Definitely some clunky bits. I think some of Natsupoi's like comeback spots were timed poorly, like her attempt at a spinny kick when Tam was doing a kick, and they kind of missed each other. But
Yeah,
Natsupoi kind of hit Tam. I was like, okay, you could have tried a bit better there. But even still, I thought they did really well.
I thought the first half of
And
this match
that's
was like tremendous, and then the second half was not as good.
yeah, definitely. And that set us up for our final, which was Suzu Suzuki beating Micah in 14 minutes with a Sky Twister press. So this is a great match. I think the finals tend to start at like a higher gear than the normal match. They don't
Mhm.
like start at zero and build. They start at like the midpoint and go. And it's just always really fun. Like they were just started off just trying to get at each other. And that kept going throughout the match.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier that there was a moment in the Mariah match where I realized that this final would be an issue. When Micah kicked out of the clothesline from hell that she hit, and the crowd was just like chanting Micah louder than they chant anybody ever. Um, this match was just that, like most of the time. Like that was the vibe of this match. And Mike and Suzu were fighting the fuck out of each other. They were beating each other up. I loved that. The double punches was a bit cute, but I liked it because like it was cool. I respected it. Um, the superplex, the top rope superplex, which she doesn't pull out all the time. She does the second rope, but Mike hit the top rope superplex into the three amigos. Killer. Um, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in this. Micah kicking out of the Germans, the locomotive Germans, was like one of the spots of the night because I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it ain't over, and then it was over. 10 seconds later, but yeah, there's some great stuff in this. Like it was one of the best matches of the tournament.
I actually think Micah kicking out of the Germans was the point where I was like, okay, they have one choice here. Um,
Yeah,
because that got the big reaction, and you could feel this like swell of, if Micah comes back now and gets the win, the roof is gonna blow off this place. But instead, you got a big reaction for the Sky Twister press, admittedly, because like I didn't know Suzu could do that. I don't think she's ever done it before. Um, this is not a move we see all that often in Joshi circles. I mean, Chaparita Asari did it, and I think that might be it. So
so, yeah.
the
Since
move
then, it's
itself,
it's Naito's move basically. Like that's where
yeah,
I associate it. And he can't hit it.
the move,
He canonically is incapable of hitting that move to win tournaments, which I think is very funny that it was used to win a Bushiroad tournament.
yes. But yeah, like she got a big reaction for the Sky Twister press, but like when that three hit, it was just like an oh. It wasn't the whoa that you usually get with Japanese crowds. It was the oh, and I was like, having that Micah moment visualized in my mind. I was like, man, they missed it there. Like you had something with that Micah. If she kicks out of those Germans and hits a Michinoku driver and wins, you've got something. Whereas instead you got and I think that's just really interesting.
I would
But
have
the
loved it
Sky Twister.
if Suzu missed the Sky Twister, Micah got her up, Michinoku driver over. Like that, that would people would say it would be a callback to Naito. Like that, because that is just how Naito loses every match. Um, but I think that would be so cool. And then the story is Suzu uh eventually hitting the Sky Twister and that being like her big thing. Um, but instead it was just, I hope Tam doesn't kick out of it. That's where I'm at. I hope Tam doesn't kick
Yeah,
out of it in November.
they gotta protect this. They have to protect this. Like this is the move. So I hope so, and it's cool that she can do it. Like I don't know, it's a big move to have in your arsenal, and definitely a unique one. So
Mhm.
so long as she can do it, let's keep going. Um, but I feel like we should keep on moving because there's still a lot to get to. So
That's the end of the tournament.
next show to review. Yes, it is, and we don't have time to really discuss it because we have like 20 minutes. So next show, October 1st, 2023, Stardom at Corkin. 902 fans, kind of decent number for like half 11 on a Sunday against New Japan and the Crush Gals.
And the day
Um,
after the big show happened, like
yeah,
an hour away.
indeed. So the key stuff from this show is basically that after the Megan, Bane, May, Sarah, and Suzu versus Saki, Mariah, and Suri match, Mariah was attacked by a masked clown. This was a trend that developed throughout the show. So I get the sense this clown attacking Mariah is like a debut or a jump, maybe. Uh, somebody's gonna challenge for the white belt at the December show, maybe if they wanted to. So
Maybe it's the
yeah,
Halloween show. I
I
meant
don't know. I think the
I could
Mayu
see
ones are
Mariah
the
doing it,
Halloween.
but I could also see Mariah doing a title match at the Halloween show. Like this is a more serious one. Like I think this is like a more like evidentful one. But I could definitely
Yeah,
see
but
it.
they like to tease these for a while.
Yeah.
Like I suspect it might be somebody who's going to leave their promotion soon, but hasn't
We talked
yet.
about that the other
Um,
day is that usually people leave on October 1st in Japan. And nobody really has. So, I don't know.
yeah, yeah, kind of interesting, but we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that. I just think this one's important because this was a very distinct mask. It was a very different look. It got a lot of time compared to the Mayu one, so I think this one is just more important. Um,
We'll see
Mai
when we see the
Sakurai,
video properly of what
yeah,
like the vibe is of this person because it might be very obvious and we just don't know.
possibly. Mai Sakurai is now the super lady. She has Sakurai books. She has a big pony outfit. She gets it. She's the one. Um, the other kind of notable thing is that yeah, Mayu beat Azumi and then was attacked by a group of masked attackers and carried off by them. I assume these are a Halloween show, like tag match maybe, because there was a video with Mina where she was being stalked by one. So I
Yeah.
don't know if they're gonna like a special team up where like Mayu, Mina, and somebody else who's a relatively big
Mina was
star
attacked.
will take on these masks. Was it?
Yeah, because Maya got attacked by plague
Mm.
masks, plague doctors, and Mina got attacked by like a ghoul mask, and Mirai got attacked by a clown
Right.
mask.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Mina's might be different as well then. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to wait and see because I don't know there. Julia defended the strong belt against Ami Sore in 17 and a half minutes. I think she was challenged by Hyan after via video message. And then Michiko of Great showed up to attack Julia and was like, hey, remember me? Small history lesson for people. When Julia first jumped ship from Ice Ribbon, she briefly teamed with then Andros Miyagi on the house shows before going, you suck, and kicking her out, and eventually recruiting Micah and Suri
But
to
it's also
start DDM.
Julia kicked her out of the company. Like Julia was
Yes.
basically her last chance, and then Julia kicked her out, and Michiko was just gone. The crowd hated this. Well, not hated this. They just booed her, which is kind of insane. Because Stardom crowds do not boo very easily. but they were booing the fuck out of Michiko. Yeah, I love
Positive, I
Michiko
guess.
still.
Good.
I still love her. I'm still a big
Mm.
fan of hers. Uh, I don't know why she dropped her last name. It was the only thing that she's kept all these years, and she decided nah. But I do like the story as well. It's like, yeah, like that makes sense. Like, one thing I do question is if everybody backstage is cool with it, because as far as I am aware, Michiko did not leave in the kindest of graces with everybody on the Stardom roster at that point in time. I wonder how Natsuko and
Well,
Hazuki feel. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Like I wonder how they feel. But
who knows,
yeah,
honestly. So looking ahead to this weekend, there's two house shows. There's nothing really on them. Like all the stars are off. Azumi isn't on them either. Like there is nothing happening. Stardom is taking part in the Diana Korakuen on the 8th of October. The Stardom match is Haruka Umasaki, Moran, and Saida versus Nanami, Ami Sourei, and Ayami Sasamura. So that's a good match. Rest of the card doesn't look that great. That like main event is double in a way tag belts, which I think says enough about the show. Shinobu Kandori is also challenging for the Queen Elizabeth title on that, which is exclusively for people over 45, I think, and it
yeah.
has to be defended in three-way matches. So there's like 6 people eligible for it, and they just kind of rotate. It's
Shinobu
something.
Kandori getting a belt in 2023. That's the realest right there. You know what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah, that's what we
As
want.
flexed in honor of Shinobu Kandori.
I see. Okay. Um, so we have a pay-per-view to preview on Monday, the 9th of October. This is Nagoya Golden Fight 2023 in the Dolphins Arena. The opening match of this card is a special singles match from the 5-star GP. It is Azumi versus Saori Ano. This was obviously
So
a tag
depressing.
title match, but both of their tag partners are injured, so it's just a singles match now.
Azumi
Ano is
losing
going to win.
3 straight singles matches the week of her birthday and anniversary is so sick. It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cruel even.
Um, we have the UWF rules match, Siri versus Mina Shirakawa. Yeah, Siri's gonna beat the brakes off of this woman.
I'm really excited for this match. If Mina delivers here, I really hope she does. I really hope she delivers.
All right. We have a high-speed championship match. Saki Kashima defends against May Sarah. That is presumably May Sarah winning the belt. They've held off on that for long enough.
Yeah, hopefully. Love Saki, but
Um,
you know,
yeah.
give Miss Air her belt.
All
So she
right.
can't get the belt in the next match, which she should be in.
The next match then is an Artist of Stardom Championship match. It is Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla versus Maika, Suzu Suzuki, and Megan Bain. So if Suzu hadn't won the GP, I think the favorites would be the Megan, Maika, and Suzu team. But I don't know if you belt up the GP winner in this
Especially because
scenario.
isn't Gold Rush usually the show that they do the ladder matches?
Yeah, yeah, it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
This could
So
this
I
could be where Micah and Megan detract from Suzu and DDM.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Because
Possibly.
I believe it was Scott who brought up the idea of maybe Suzu's like replacing Micah. And Micah's just kind of going off and doing whatever somewhere else. Uh, that's kind of where I'm
I think
thinking this might happen.
to a degree it's too late. It's too late. In some ways. So I don't know about that. Like you could have Micah just lose and continue her story if you want. I would be okay with that, but I really don't know. Like I don't
But
think
I
you
could also
belt
just
up
see her
to
saying, "Man, fuck you guys, I'm done." Like I could see that,
possibly, yeah,
like
possibly,
Julie and
maybe.
Suzu
But I mean,
specifically.
her and Megan as the base of a faction isn't great unless Megan is here. Here,
Yeah,
like if she's
she's
going
not.
in November, then no, I don't really. I don't think that's great, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Um, the match after that is a Kairi send off. This one's really gone under the radar. It's Kairi, Mai Iwatani, and Nanai Takahashi versus Hazuki Koguma and Saya Ida. So Kairi getting to team with 2 people from her past. Obviously, her and Nanai were tag champs. Her and Mayu teamed as part of Freedom. Would have teamed kind of on and off then as well. and they take on a homegrown trio, which was very specific for what
Classmates.
Kyrie was requesting. So yeah, should be fun. I guess Kyrie will maybe give a shit for her send off. Either way, it'll be a big deal. Saying goodbye again to the Pirate Princess. But
Do you think?
yeah, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I know what you're gonna ask, and the answer is no.
No, Hazuki Stroll in Kyrie's future. She goes out on top as she always does.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, next match is a Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Mirai takes on Momo Watanabe. Yeah, Mirai is not losing this belt anytime soon. To me, so
Probably not. Yeah, no.
she's definitely retaining here. Momo is not getting that win again.
I feel like in the heat of the 5-star, I was like, damn, Momo might be doing, and then like the second that it ended, I was like, oh no, she's not. Like
No.
just in terms of like being a prominent member of anything in the company ever. Like
Yeah,
was how
no.
it felt. Was like in the middle of the turn, I was like, she's kinda maybe, and then like the second that Izumi match happened, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's not what they do.
Um, this match will probably have to be the one to like carry the show in some ways because this has the best potential of everything. Like this is
Yeah,
the one that could be a holy shit that was excellent. Um, like the rest of the stuff could be really good to great, but this could be the high end stuff.
totally.
The main event then of the show is a World of Stardom Championship match. Tam Nakano defends against Natsuko Tora. The winner will defend against Suzu in November. And yeah, this is Tam getting her win back over Tora, who has been built up fairly well for this. So I mean I can't really
I'm
complain, but yeah,
I'm
Tam is
cautiously
retaining.
optimistic that this could be a really good match. Because I like their tournament match. I thought like it wasn't great, but I thought it had the makings of a better match. And that they still have that chemistry that I saw from them many years ago. Uh, and so I'm hoping this will be good. But you know, never really know.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful, but
yeah,
it's Tam.
that's
It's non-tournament Tam, so we'll see.
that is true actually. Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So despite this being like a good looking card, it's like yeah, nothing's really happening. So we're just gonna hope for good matches
I mean, it's
here.
the
So
fallout,
you know,
right? Like that's kind of where we're at.
yeah,
Waiting
it's
for a
backlash.
not very good. Micah's not good enough for. No. Yeah, I think we're kind of just waiting for the not very good looking goddess tag league to begin. Um, since we have 4 whole minutes, can we go through our matches of the tournament? Just to
Honestly, I don't even remember mine, but yeah, we can try.
Okay. Well, my MVPs for the tournament, and this is not technically, it's just like the math guide, is Hazuki, Mayu, and Suzu were like my top three, and Micah was like fourth. Uh, those are my rest of the tournament. I will eat crow and say you were right. The Red Stars block was better, and it would have been even better if Sai Kamatani was around. So I was completely wrong, and you were completely right in our preview that you said that the Red Stars block was better because you were right. They just had two of the
I
worst
know
wrestlers
ball.
in it.
I know
They said
ball.
they had the two worst wrestlers in it. Like of the tournaments of Starlight Kid and the tournament of Ami Sourei were the weakest of the entire tournament, in my opinion.
Yes.
But like otherwise, it was just pretty much hitters. Matches of the tournament. I have my top five. My number five is Natsupoi versus Mayu Utani. My number four is Natsuko and Hazuki. And then from three on, we can kind of trade off. I don't know if you still have them in mind.
Oh man. I think my number 5 is probably Ano Momo. I think.
Mm,
I cannot remember. And number 4 is probably Momo Mirai. I had to guess.
big Momo guy.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm trying to remember Ano versus. Oh yeah, that was good. I remember that. I remember that now. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good match. The
Like there were so
Momo
many
match.
like great matches. It's hard to like distinct like have them in a distinct order. I just think the top ones are very obvious, but the
Yeah.
ones under that are a lot harder to
See,
arrange.
and I don't have the one that everybody loves the most in my top five. Um, it kind of got scooted out for
Freak.
other matches from both of them. Uh,
And
my
that's
number
fair.
three is Tam versus Mayu from day 9.
Wow. Okay.
How about
Um,
yours?
my number 3 is Probably Ham and Natsupoi from the last day.
Really?
That was heat. Like that was heat. They were just doing shit, man. It's either that or like Tam Suri, but like at that stage, I think I'm splitting hairs.
Interesting.
Like it's either way, it's a Tam match.
Yeah, Tam had a good tournament. I think she deserves to be on the
Yeah.
top 5 in some way. I just prefer the Mayu match because I think Mayu had an absurd tournament this year. My number 2 is the final. It's Micah versus Suzu. I really like that match. Yeah, I mean it would have been better if it would have been the best match of the tournament if Micah had won, but splitting hairs.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would have taken it up. Yeah, I probably agree. It's probably number 2 on my like vague listing. Yeah.
And then number 1 from the jump till the end, it is Sherry versus Suzu. I still just have such
Oh,
high
I
like
forgot about that. Oh my
yeah.
god.
Yeah, I just look back on that match so fondly as like just like the match that really set the tone for how great of a tournament this was going to be.
Okay. Yeah, my number 1 is obviously Siri Natsupoi, which is probably a lot of people's.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many great ones on this. You could go to a top 10 and you'd still be leaving stuff out, but
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't really get a good track going here. So I probably forgot some great one. I mean, I forgot Siri Suzu. That's probably actually my number 3, and everything else is pushed down. But that's how it goes. And then the Siri Tam that I forgot about apparently. Mayu Natsupoi. And neither of us said Suzu Hazuki. Like crazy shit, crazy tournament. So yeah, I think we got through it all, Dylan. Just about. I know we had to rush there, but I think we did it.
Yeah, kept it to 2 hours. That's what we do.
Yeah, good timing
Exactly.
from us. So
Good tournament. I mean, everybody got injured, but good tournament.
yeah,
Lasted a
I
fine
think
9
my
hours.
yes, I think my greatest tournament of all time took a hit with the final day. Just that like they were ravaged. I mean, no Mayu SLK, no Saya Suzu, no Julia Utami. That really dampens it. That definitely hurts. But I think this year will definitely be looked back on as one of the best tournaments ever in Joshi.
I will say,
Um,
a lot
so
of people were talking about the final not being as good as the previous 2 years. I thought this was better than last year's. Not as good as Shuri Momo because that's one of the greatest matches in Stardom history. But I thought it was better than last year's, and that's not just me saying that because I don't really like Julia and Tam. But I just thought this was like a really good final as well. The final, I mean. But that's all I got to
yeah,
say.
I thought it was a great one. I would put it below Tam Julia, but as you all know, I am very into the Julia. And I think Julia Tam delivers more often than not for me. So I would say this is probably the weakest final since Utami Himeka. Because that was like a weird one. They like
That was weird.
Utami was like selling fatigue the entire time, and I was like, oh great, that's fun. So yeah, this is probably the weakest one since then. Probably like still a great one. Um, yeah, with that, it is time to close the show. Kind of. We will be back next week to review the pay-per-view. And we'll also look ahead to whatever's happening after. We'll probably discuss something from the strategy presentation. I'm sure there'll be some sort of announcement coming out of
The
that
week
that'll be
after
interesting.
is Decades of Queens and a Korakuen show.
Absurd,
Oh,
absurd.
but the
The World of
Korakuen show
Stardom.
is like 2 weeks. Oh, that's dumb. That's bad. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. The World of Stardom never stops. Tag League, the official Stardom Quest viewpoint on Tag League is nobody ever cares. So we
I
will
wish
pay
I did.
attention to Tag League, but it will not get the kind of attention this GP got. We'll probably do a little bit more
Oh shit, Tag League
just
starts next week.
discussing
Oh my
shit.
god.
Yeah. There'll be
Give
a
these
lot more
girls a
just
break.
there'll be a lot more just like talking, a lot more breaking stuff down than we were able to do during the GP where we were just loaded with stuff. So should be a little bit freer now until we get into the build for the December show, which we didn't mention. They confirmed during this pay-per-view that the year-end show is at Sumo Hall, as I had kind of been guessing. Because why would they downgrade when it's December in holiday
Yeah.
season? You're gonna get a couple thousand people. So that's that. It is time for me to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Show.